So hello, we're coming together on Zoom today, or not Zoom so much, but in a pre-recording, because I just can't guarantee that we're going to be, okay. Here we are on the recording today, in the absence of being together. Taking this time to settle, to lie down, to be at ease, to be on the floor, in your home, in comfort. Lying down, knees bent, fully bent, with the feet wide apart and the knees coming together, supporting one knee upon the other. The small of the back gently is guided into the floor without any effort, giving the back some time to relax and ease, giving this opportunity to rest for a moment and collect. I'm recording here on the cusp of the full moon, the Aquarian full moon, on Thursday, what date is it? The 17th of February. And when you see that this recording, maybe a few days later, we're still in the energies of the full moon. That time that can be quite busy energetically, can create some challenges for us. And the time of Aquarius, this Aquarian time, as we're coming to the end of this cycle, this horoscope cycle, this time is about coming together. It's about collaboration and connection with other people. Knowing that the kindness that you show towards yourself, extending to others. A time for self-compassion. A time for compassion for others. And maybe whilst you lie here, tuning into your breath, tuning into this breath that you arrive with, this starting breath, and with some intention, with every in-breath, drawing in that sense of loving kindness, compassion for yourself, for your body, for your actions and thoughts, compassion for all aspects of who you are. Allowing that breath that comes in to draw in that loving kindness, that warmth, compassion, sensitivity and nurturing. And with the out breath, as it naturally flows out, releasing any judgment, any commentary or criticism, that inner critic that is quite often present in our thinking. Constant companion is the inner critic. With the intention, we allow ourselves to bring in something of the opposite to that critic. That kind, loving, nurturing attention upon ourselves. And do this for the next few breaths with intention. You might even like to sigh that breath out. And giving extra emphasis on the letting go aspect of this practice. You may choose to deepen the inhalation with the visualization of bringing in that nourishment, that nurturing that we're cultivating here, the self-compassion. And maybe sighing the breath out, that letting go, the releasing, the giving way and releasing the grip on those aspects that can weigh us down, can hold us back and stifle our creativity. Breathing in the sense of love and light, and exhaling, letting go what does not serve, what holds us back. Taking a few breaths in, maybe even adding in a colour, be a colour of love. You might like to release with the breath. It may be helpful to visualise colour, a different colour. And now, with the next in and out breath, releasing this focus and moving into the body, lengthening the legs, straightening the arms, and I'll just check that I've got the recording still going. Reaching, lengthening, stretching. Oh, bugger. Reaching and lengthening, stretching and extending, drawing the body into the longest possible extension, fingers, toes, and softening, easing. Reaching once again with fingers, toes, that length, that expansion, that stretching and softening once again. Bending the knees and hugging the knees into the chest. Hugging in and moving from side to side. Letting the body slowly wake up. If you're watching this in the morning, or tuning into the body of the day, which may have had some movement, but it may have also had quite a bit of sitting still, sitting down maybe. And just slow that movement, reaching the legs to the sky, pointing and flexing, and maybe massaging behind the legs. Pointing and flexing. Hugging the knees in, forehead toward the knees. And softening back. Hugging in once again, forehead toward the knees. And softening back. And the next time you hug the knees in, bring the hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers behind, supporting the head, and lengthening the toes up towards the sky. So the head is slightly off the ground, the belly is engaged, the toes are pointing. Supporting the head here in the hands, So you can relax the head into the cradle of the hands, pointing and flexing the feet. And breathing, bringing the breath in as well, aiming not to hold the breath too much. And reaching the hands now up towards the toes, of the toes down to the hands. And let it go, softening back. And giving in for 1 or 2 breaths. Bending the knees, widening the hands. Actually, I'm going to do cactus arms. I'm running out of length with the arms. You might like to cactus arms or extend the arms straight. With the feet wide, the small of the back into the floor, rocking the knees from side to side. Aiming the knees toward the floor. The knee of one foot, the knee of one side ends up into the foot arch of the other, or in the direction of the foot arch. So moving from side to side here. Maybe when you flop to one side, the breath is released as well. And when the knees come up through centre, the breath supports that reaching as you flop to the other side. And when your knees next flop towards the right side, just let them be there. Let them be here. Moving in the direction of the floor, we may not quite get there, and that's okay. This is your body for this morning. Notice the breath as it automatically deepens. Without any effort, the breath shifts down into the belly. You might like to take the gaze towards the opposite elbow. Now with the head coming back to centre, drawing the knees towards the sky, rocking from side to side for a few moments. Just to encourage the small of the back into the floor. And the knees flopping over towards the left. And settling the body here for the next few breaths before you gaze in the opposite direction, if that's available for your neck this morning. And notice what happens when the body flops to this side. Is there any difference? Much the same. Draw in with intention this noticing into what's happening with our body, so we can become more aware of our internal workings, that introspective awareness where we increase our inner sight, so we can become more attuned to what our body needs and also what it doesn't need. Coming back to centre, flopping the knees from side to side, and then drawing the knees once more up towards the body and rocking a little bit further. And moving the knees in circles, holding on to the knees as you move in one direction. And holding on as you move in the opposite direction. Just slow the movement here, taking first the right knee, making big circles with the right. When I say big, what is big for you? The movement that is just on the edge of what's comfortable for you, without slipping into overextending or our tendency to overreach or overstretch. That internal looking in to what's happening with the body. As you move in the opposite direction, moving opposite, knees opening through the groin area, relaxing the jaw. As we speak about so often how the jaw and the hip are quite intimately linked, even though they're quite far away. Moving into the opposite leg, maybe taking a time to move slowly into the left side, noticing what's happening on this opposite side, how it may be different, how it may be the same. And reversing, moving in that opposite direction. Breathing into any areas that are tight. And also giving some breath to those areas that are soft and at ease. And slowing that movement, drawing the foot soles together, holding on to the feet or the ankles. The feet coming into prayer position. Opening up through the hips and the groin here. And rocking from side to side for a moment. And then slowing that movement, both foot soles together. Holding onto the ankles. And just allowing the body to settle in here for a moment. And knowing that even bringing the foot soles together, holding on wherever you're holding on, can create a stretch. If you need a bit more, if you need to extend a bit more, perhaps drawing the heels in toward the body, the shoulder blades coming closer toward the floor. Being aware of what your body needs. Breathing into this tight area, or potentially tight area. And slowing that movement, shaking the legs, giving them a nice shake, giving the arms a shake, letting it all go, tantruming out, getting rid of all of that excess energy, and giving in, letting the body just settle. Releasing the movement. Noticing anything that's occurring within the body. Is there a movement of energy? Is there a flow within the body, a blood flow within the body? Perhaps there's a relief when the movement has finished and completed. All is welcome. All of this noticing what's happening in your body is so important. Bringing the hands into prayer position, we're preparing to come up into sitting, or under the small of the back. Hands coming up, tucking in the chin, lifting the body up, and coming onto all fours. We're coming into the cat position. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Tucking the toes under, straightening the legs, coming onto the toes, heels down, one down and the other, pedaling through, moving from one side to the other with the belly tucked into the spine, engaging the muscles of the belly here, as the tendency is to relax the belly in this position. And drawing both feet toward the floor. They might not reach, but moving in the direction, perhaps bending the knees, coming onto the toes, And bending the knee, bringing the feet down to the floor, perhaps bending the knees if you need. Onto the toes once more. And bending the knees quite deeply, placing the knees on the floor and the head coming to rest on two fists for this moment. The head supported on two fists. Just being in the body as the body reestablishes its equilibrium. If your toes are able to do this morning and this moment, whatever time of day you're watching, tucking the toes under, if you can see the toes tucked under, widening the knees, again adjusting if you need, and walking the hands away. Forehead toward the floor as you lengthen the hands, tail in the opposite direction, forehead just resting down. Breathing here. You might like to come onto your fingertips to extend that stretch along the arms and the shoulders, lifting you up slightly. Breathing into here. And now walking the hands towards the body, knees coming together, allowing the tail to move towards the heels, might not reach, but in the direction of the heels. This gives an additional stretch to the toes, which may be a challenge. It may be completely fine, but only move within your own body's capacity as always. Releasing the toes and giving them a little bit of a slap. Releasing the toes. And from here moving into our cat-cow sequence, where the out breath is released and the back rounds and arches. And with the inhalation, the expansion of the body, the belly bellows out toward the floor, gazing up and moving within your breath, rounding and dipping, using your breath to create that movement for yourself. Notice if your breath is moving faster or slower. No need to change the breath, it's more the noticing that's important. Arching once more, tucking the chin in. And from this hunched position, from the belly into the spine, the chin into the neck, draw the tail ever so slightly towards the heels. And notice the shift of the stretch as you move into the small of the back. And breathing. And coming back to center, wiggling the tail, giving the tail just a little bit of a wag. Tucking the toes under for just a moment. Bringing the head onto two fists. I'll just be back in a moment. Tucking the toes under as we prepare to bring the tail towards the sky once more. Walking the hands away from the body as we're going to come into a plank. So the hands moving away, the tail coming down onto the toes, belly tucking in. We'll do this for a breath or two, or as long as you're able to hold it, coming out at any time as you know. Strengthening here through the back and the belly. Bending the knees, untucking the toes, and tail towards the heels. Stretching out through the back. And bringing the forehead onto the floor. Hands into child's pose, so the backs of the palms beside the feet. Palms towards the sky and just giving in. For that moment or two, sending the breath of kindness into the body. Into the areas that are strong and stable. And also into those areas that have work to be done upon them. Those areas that may be tight. Sending the breath of light into those areas. With the forehead now on the floor, maybe placing the hand beside the head, straightening the legs as you roll from the forehead to the crown. Tail towards the floor once more. So you come to the forehead and rolling again from the forehead to the crown. So we're moving our awareness and massaging along this area, the forehead, our intuitive centre, the pituitary gland, or the pituitary gland, yes, and rolling onto the top of the head where we focus on the light sensitive gland, the pineal gland. So rolling along this arc, forehead to crown. And when you next come onto the crown, if this works for you, if this is comfortable for you, just be there for a moment. Not placing any weight on the forehead necessarily. The hands are there to support you. The shoulders pulling out of the ears. Just that focus there on the top of the head, that crown centre. That centre of connection to all that there is in the world that we live in and the cosmic forces beyond. Rolling the body back down once more. Head coming to rest on two fists, tail toward the floor, toward the heels. And breathing in and out. Coming onto hands and knees, tucking the toes under, tail towards the sky and walking the hands towards the feet, hanging over your knees, the legs slightly bent, and rolling the body up into standing. Taking the time when you arrive here to be in this position. Be in this upright position. We've been upside down, we've been in an inversion for a little while. So the body just needs a bit of time to readjust, to recalibrate. Drawing the arms up overhead. And reaching one side and the other. Reaching up to the sky, maybe even gazing up to the hands as you come onto the toes. Moving and stretching. Ooh, dancing. Bringing both hands up towards the sky and lowering down. Drawing them up. Coming onto the toes, whilst remaining on the toes, bending the knees, straightening the arms towards the sky, and with the next exhalation, exhaling the arms back and behind. With the next inhalation, we're up on the toes, towards the sky, exhaling, sweeping back. Inhaling once more. Strong in the toes. Exhaling, sweeping back. Flattening the feet and standing up. And coming to rest in Tadasana. Coming to rest in the mountain for a moment again. Tuning in with the eyes closed. Moving into the body. Breathing deeply here. Blinking the eyes open and creating some helicopter swings with the arms. Moving the arms around the body, allowing them just to come in contact, a bit of a tap as they move higher and higher, higher still towards the sky and lower towards the shoulders, down towards the hips, and slowing that movement, completely easing to a stop, completely coming into Tadasana once more. Feeling the earth beneath your feet, grounding deeply down into the earth. Feet searching, finding ground, finding a root underneath the feet. Spreading the tendrils and the roots through the floor and the surface that you stand upon, past the mat, the carpet, floorboards or concrete, all the way down to the earth, to the ground, searching further, spreading deeper into the earth and splaying around you, finding and creating a base which is wide and stable, like the roots of a majestic tree that can weather time, can weather all conditions. To blink the eyes open, drawing the chin into the neck, lowering the body down toward the floor with the heaviest of arms, tummy into the spine, lowering down to the floor. Once again, pushing into the floor, belly to the spine, rounding the body up into standing, shoulders pressed back, up and down. Working once again, chin tucking in, arms are heavy, rolling the body down toward the floor. Pausing here for a breath or two, pushing into the floor, rolling the body up, curling the body up, into standing. And be here in this standing for a moment. And rolling the shoulders up, back and down. Forward, up, back and down. Opening up through the chest with each rolling, each extending back, the chest opening up. And reversing, moving in the opposite direction. Allowing the breath to flow. And shaking the shoulders, giving them a little bit of movement. So doing the shoulders intentionally And now relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, allowing the arms to be heavy and the knees to be bouncing. The knees are doing the bobbing. We're moving into the knees, the thighs. If you're moving into the jaw, let that go. Maybe moving the jaw a little bit. Flopping with the arms. It's one of those challenging things to just isolate that movement to the knees, to the lower part of the body. Often we want to do more with our arms, but just resist. Draw the energy into the knees, the feet, the lower part of the body. And then slow ease. Notice now what happens and what occurs in the body in the absence of that movement. There may be nothing to notice at all. There may be a sense of energy moving, blood flowing to the fingers and the toes. Perhaps it's brought about some areas of discomfort. Notice what's there. Bringing the hands together behind, interlacing the fingers, shoulder blades coming together and drawing the straight arms down toward the floor. Opening up through the chest. Tucking the tail in. And breathing, bringing in the breath. And drawing the arms up whilst breathing and softening them down. Bringing the shoulder blades together, straightening the arms, the elbows straight, and lifting up and softening. We'll do one more. Shoulder blades together behind, chest open, extended. Reaching up, tail tucked under, sit bones towards the floor. Breathing. So many instructions. And softening, easing and just bouncing around once more. Bouncing into the shoulders. Maybe even slowing that movement to look from one side to the other. Moving the head, looking over one shoulder, the other. Coming back to centre, chin to the neck. Chin reaching towards the sky. And from here towards the sky, looking ever so slightly from side to side. Back to centre. Chin to the neck. And once more side to side. Coming back to centre and lowering the body down toward the floor as your chin tucks in, rolling the body down and coming into a cross-legged position. Maybe we'll we'll come into a cross-legged position. I'm going to bring a pillow here underneath my tail to support. You might like to, I invite you to. And taking now the right hand onto the left knee, reaching up towards the sky with the left, pushing the sit bones into the floor as you reach over to the right. And swapping over, lengthening the spine before you're over. Oh, breathe out and in. And we'll do once more to each side. The right hand to the left knee, reaching up and over. And swapping over. Length and over. Coming back to centre, walking the hands forward. I've only got a little bit of movement today. You might have more. Move as far as it's comfortable for you. And coming back, crossing the legs the opposite way. and walking out once again. And coming back to sitting once more, giving the legs a little bit of a shake, shaking them out. Onto the sit bones. Feet into prayer position as we move into feathering, closing down the eyes, soft shutters closing down as you move the knees together in unison, both knees in harmony with one another. Your pace, your rhythm, unique to this moment, not just unique to you, but this moment in time, where so many things are dependent, or so many things alter our rhythm. How we spend our time, our rest and our activity balance, what we eat, what we drink, the choices that we make moment by moment, who we spend our time with. All of these things impact our sense of rhythm. There's no right or wrong here, just the noticing. Tucking the chin in toward the neck, slowing that movement, slowly opening the eyes. We'll go into one tippling if you choose, or continue to feather. Bringing the hands into two fists before you, tucking in beside the hips, releasing any obstacle behind, lifting straight and hinging forward. Flattening the feet, tucking the tummy in, onto the toes, shoulder blades come together, pedaling the knees toward the floor. And we're only going to do one. So if you arrive, or if you're on the way, that's altogether fine. Or if you're feathering, knees, if they arrive on the floor, head draping back, tail off the floor, breathing into the front of the body, and to come out, chin tucking in, forehead to the floor, to the knees. And wherever you're at, letting the legs go, letting the arms shake, the hands shaking out. And crossing the legs. Moving into our pranayama. I'll just check that I'm not going over in time. Moving into our pranayama, we'll work with the humming breath, brahmachari. That breath where we're able to block out all of the sounds, the external stimuli, and draw our attention and our awareness inward. That internal sound, that humming, very reminiscent of Om, that we do at the end of class. It can be very loud, but everyone's blocking their own ears so that you only hear your own sound. You'll be in your home, so other people might hear, but that's okay, you can't hear them. So with the brahmachari, we'll do 3 rounds and then stop, and then we'll do a further 4 rounds before we stop. So with this, first I'll go through the technique. We block the ears and block the eyes if that's comfortable for you. So really blocking your eyes and blocking your sense of sight. Or you can place your hands upon the head, whichever works for you. There's the full inhalation. And with the exhalation, extending slowly that out breath into a hum. And because your ears are blocked, there's the noise that reverberates within your skull becomes quite loud. So we'll work through that together. 3 rounds together, pausing for a few breaths once you've finished, and then we'll do 4. So coming into position, breathing in, blocking the ears and breathing out. When you've completed your 3 rounds, lower the hands. Allow the body just to breathe. Moving into the next 4 rounds, preparing to close down the senses, aiming for as long an out breath as it works for you, knowing that my breath might be shorter or longer than yours. And when you complete, resting in the absence of that note, of that breath. Slowly moving into our yoga mudra, the classic yoga mudra, where the right is on top. Oh, the classic yoga mudra with the pointer in the pad of the thumbs with the arms extended straight. Don't want to confuse them. Preparing to begin. Inhale, reaching toward the floor, arms to shoulder height, softening elbows and wrists. As you exhale, hinging forward, crossing the arms behind, and allowing the breath to flow as we bow this first time in compassion for ourselves, the self-compassion that we can learn to give ourselves, even if it doesn't come naturally. Sending love, kindness, loving kindness into the body, into your thoughts and emotions, the sensations, and into any past behaviours and future intentions. Compassion for self. Inhale, coming up, reaching the arms to shoulder height, bending at the elbows and wrists. Slowly with reverence, returning back to starting once again. Inhaling, sweeping up, softening elbows and wrists. Exhaling, as the breath leaves you, you bend forward, and breath flowing naturally here. As we bow this second time, to extend our warmest thoughts and compassion for others, for the journey that they are on and the challenges that present themselves to others, the obstacles, the triumphs, and also those many tribulations, the journey that others are on, sending love and compassion and understanding. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, sweeping down, starting once again. Final time, inhaling. Exhaling. As we breathe gently and lightly here, we extend a loving gaze to the world in which we live, to be able to see the beauty in the world that we share, the warmth of the sun on our face, the rain that provides for the earth to grow, the cycles of the seasons, those that we enjoy and those that we struggle to have love for, knowing that that is a cycle, and for every cycle it turns back. Autumn, spring, summer, winter, different orders of enjoyment, but all part of the cycle of the year. Inhaling, exhaling, softening in, sending that loving light, compassionate to yourself, blinking the eyes open and releasing the legs, giving the legs, the hips a little bit of love. Ankles, knees. As we move into our spine twist, bending both knees, straightening out first the left and drawing the right over the top. You might like to leave that bottom leg straight or tuck it in underneath. Again, settle into this position and see if this is right for you, or you need to adjust to straight leg or bent. Fingers pointing in towards the body. As you inhale, looking left, drawing left arm up to shoulder height. As you exhale, wrapping around the knee and hugging in. Looking right, drawing right arm to shoulder height and extending that arm back behind you, and the back of the hand to the small of the back. As you look over both relaxed shoulders, you look over the right shoulder, being in the twist of your spine, allowing this twist to create a wringing out of any toxins that are held along the spinal cord through the spinal fluid, the cerebral spinal fluid. And as we unravel head, shoulders, hands coming back to starting, there's that fresh supply of life-giving, nourishing blood flowing through the spine, and our spinal fluid gathering up any toxins, any eliminated waste to move out of the body. Drawing a breath in. Releasing the breath out. Releasing the knees. And preparing to move to the other side. So straightening now first the right and drawing the left over. Or I think maybe we'll do it the opposite way. so we can get it happening the opposite way. You might like to tuck that bottom leg underneath or leave it straight. As we move into the opposite side, as we now look right arm up to shoulder height, as you exhale, hugging the knee into the chest and reaching up and following that hand back and around behind as you look over the opposite shoulder, looking now over the left as we create another twist, a wringing out of the spinal cord, that intention for our channel of communication to be as clear and obstacle-free as possible. So we can have those messages move freely up and down this channel. The messages from our physical body, but also those intuitive messages that come in when our body's working at its maximum potential. Head and shoulders, hands returning, closing the eyes. Draw that easy breath in and exhale, releasing that breath out. Blinking the eyes open, releasing the obstacle from behind you, beneath you if it was there, rounding the back. And preparing to roll the body down onto the floor. Focusing in on the emotions. Hands onto the belly for a moment if that works for you. And notice the breath. Notice the breath as it flows in and out. Maybe your fingertips are parting as the belly expands and bellows out. And as it contracts, perhaps the fingertips come to rest in contact with one another. Our focus here on our sun spot, our abdominal area, our solar plexus. Chin wherever you like it to be, but the knees into the chest, feet wherever you like them to be. Hands on the knees, trailing down to the ankles, flattening out the feet. Inhaling, pushing on the feet, tail coming up onto the toes. Interlacing the hands so they're underneath the body, straight. You're on your shoulders. Chin now into the neck and not moving the head from here. Supporting the back or the tail. And from here, clenching the buttocks muscle. The muscles here. Noticing the belly as it rises and falls. You might like to flatten the feet to extend, or on the toes if that works best for you. The body receives the emotions. This allows us and gives us the intention to release the emotions when they're used, when they've served their purpose. This gives us the free flowing capacity. Coming out onto your toes, releasing the hands, rolling the body down along the floor once more, hugging the knees into the chest. And lowering the feet, releasing down, and just giving in here for just a moment. Breathing into this posture. And preparing to come up into sitting, hands in prayer position, pushing the hands one into the other to come up into sitting. And here we are for our creative power pose. Ready to begin. Tucking in with the sit bones, straight with the back. Inhaling, reaching up, reaching skyward. Hands into prayer position, interlacing the thumbs, having a breath here. Exhaling with the back straight, reaching only as far as it feels comfortable for you to go before lowering the arms down along the legs. Taking a breath or two here to energize those areas that are tight. Soft with the shoulders, straight with the back. Loose with the jaw and the forehead and the shoulders. And the heart is pulling towards the toes as though there's a string from the heart to the toes. That becomes your focus, moving forward and towards the toes. And breathing into the lock that we've made on our reproductive organs. Those organs that create our cells, recreate our physical self over and over. It's the fountain of youth, this area. The fountain of potential. Focus on creating your potential, achieving your aim, whatever that is. Reaching the arms towards the feet, reaching up overhead in prayer position once more. Lowering the arms and interlacing the hands around the knees. Resting in a balanced position. That lock being released, that fresh energetic flow through our reproductive space, our creativity centre. Sweeping the legs to one side. Just going to get a quick drink. We'll move into our bandhas from a sitting or kneeling position. So the toes are tucked under here, if that's comfortable and available to your feet. If not, flattening the feet or coming into a standing variation or lying. If you are here on the knees, we'll be doing one bandha, and then with the second bandha, whilst we're in the lock, we'll straighten up the body and come up into a standing kneeling. And when you need to release down, untuck the toes, and we do so. And with the third time, so we're in the lock, we straighten the body, drawing the arms up overhead into prayer position and drawing the hands down by the heart. All of that whilst holding in the absence of breath. So, knowing this variation, we don't actually hold it as long because it's quite strong. Preparing to begin, drawing breath in, holding, exhaling breath out. In the absence of breath, tummy to the spine, up and under the rib cage, chin tucking in and holding without breath as you squeeze here. The body squeezes, draws in all of the energy from your food. As you need to draw breath in, do so, and resting the body, resting the belly. Coming up for a second bandha, releasing spent breath. Through the nose, inhaling, filling, holding, through the mouth, exhaling, absence of breath, belly up and under, chin tucking in, coming onto the knees, holding in the absence as long as you're able as we work with assimilating all of the food and the experiences. And when you need to draw breath in, untuck the toes and come into the resting position. Soft belly, shoulders, soft jaw, soft face. Coming up for the final round, releasing breath, inhaling, drawing in breath, in the fullness holding, through the mouth, exhaling, without breath, tummy lock, chin lock, draw the anal lock in onto the knees, drawing the arms up and over, hands into prayer position, pushing the hands together down before the heart, holding as long as it works for you as the body focuses on eliminating the wastes after the goodness has been taken out of our food and our experiences. And when you need to draw the breath in, do so and find yourself on the floor with the head resting to one side and the belly pushing into the floor with each breath. As we've gathered up all of our earthly energy, we've balanced all of our material, physical sides of the body. We move into actioning our intention. So into our version or our variation of the bow, we'll be sweeping the arms forward. We'll be going into the swallow. Forehead to the floor, lengthening arms, lengthening toes and fingers. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up into Superman, and as you exhale, sweeping back, the palms facing in towards the body, the chest leading, gazing forward. As we action our potential, we move into our space of willpower and stamina to be able to move forward without the obstacles, with all of the energy that we need. And softening down, head coming to rest, looking in the opposite direction. As you release the body, lower the body down once again. And move into the heart center. Forehead to the floor, hands beside the shoulders, elbows tucking in. Widening the feet comfortably wide, chin tucking in, coming into cobra, inhaling, pushing on the feet, pushing on the hands, tightening the muscles of the buttocks, leading with the chest, with the heart, in this time of connection, this Aquarian time that we're coming to the end of this this horoscope cycle, connecting in with others, working together with others, that joy of collaboration, that you are not alone in your endeavours, you are connected and part of a whole, part of the human race. And taking a breath in here, lowering the body down, elbows and chin, forehead coming to rest on the floor. Turning the hands towards the sky, bending the knees and moving from side to side. That windscreen wiper as we flip-flop from side to side. Bending the elbows with the hands onto the floor, pushing the tail up towards the sky, tail towards the heels, and an extended pose of the child. Stretching out the back, stretching and lengthening before coming up and turning over onto the back as we move into the shoulder stand, the throat focus. There are variations here. If you're working with the floor variation, it's the feet towards the sky, the hands behind the head, chin tucking in. I'll talk us through the full shoulder stand with the feet towards the sky, hands on the floor, inhaling deeply in towards the toes, exhaling, pushing the feet back behind the head, straight with the arms, interlacing the hands, coming high upon the shoulder blades, supporting the back as you trail the feet back towards the sky, toes tiptoeing on the ceiling. If you're in the floor variation, the shoulders slightly off the floor, the hands behind the head, chin tucking in. As we get to balance the pace that we move through our lives, we get to make some conscious choices here about how we balance rest and activity, action and reaction, how we balance all the poles, the polar opposites in our lives. Lowering the feet down behind the head, straightening out the arms and rolling the body down along the floor and resting the legs and giving in, unrolling from whichever variation you're in. Preparing to come up into sitting. Preparing to come up into Matsyasana, the fish. Bending the knees slightly, lifting the tail, interlacing the thumbs underneath, and lowering onto the tail onto the wrists. Lengthening, straightening the legs with the heels pushing in, chin towards the sky, straightening the legs, lifting the body towards the sky. The lock in our parathyroid gland that allows for our nerves to calm, for our calcium to be evenly distributed around the body. So it gives us the steadiness when we need it. It gives us that pause in which to think and act. One more breath, then lowering down the head, chin tucking in, pushing on the heels to release the arms, swallowing and licking the lips, taking the head up to look between the feet before peeling the neck down once more along the floor. And just giving in for just a breath or two. And making your way up into sitting in the way that you know best to do. Moving into the inversion, our final posture. Nagasana, the elephant. We'll work with a few more inversions this turn, but we'll go with the elephant for now. Tucking the toes under,
Straightening the legs, widening the feet, pushing into the feet and into the hands. Head just relaxed. Drawing the energy up from the palms, from the soles of the feet, from the palms of the hands. Connecting you with Mother Earth. That you are part of the cyclical nature of Earth. You are intimately connected to the rhythm. For you yourself ebb and flow in unison with the Earth's rhythm, with the tides, the moon cycles, the astral cycles, the weather, the hours of the day, the moments, the minutes, the seconds. We all connect in with that rhythm. Looking towards the hands, feet coming together, lowering the knees and untucking the toes to rest in our position of ease. Our position where we re-establish the equilibrium and the balance. And when you're ready, coming up into sitting, taking your time to find a comfortable position in sitting. Crown towards the sky and looking first over the right shoulder and then over to the left shoulder. Back to center as you lead the chin to the sky and side to side. Chin towards the neck and side to side. Coming back to center once more, rolling the shoulders, giving them what they need, a little bit of a shake before lying the body down, resting the body down now along the floor to be in ease. Gather whatever you need around you to cover you, to support you as you enter into a few moments of rest and relaxation as we finish off our class. Shoulder blades gently coming together behind and underneath the body. The knees either straight and lengthened or bent to support the back. Noticing into the flow of your breath, that natural flow that occurs after the practice of yoga, after our coming together as a collective. Be in the stillness for these next few moments.